Good afternoon. On today's WIFR Fastcast, construction barriers go up, and soon the former Elks Club building in Rockford will come down. Since 1912, the historic building stood as part of the Forest City landscape. In November, Rockford Mayor Tom McNamara gave the tie-breaking vote approving the demolition. He called it a difficult decision, but after years of deterioration, the building can't sit empty and puts community members at risk. The site will be torn down next week. The Winnebago County Board approves an ordinance to regulate door-to-door sales. WIFR's Nathaniel Langley meets with Republican and Democrat board members on their thoughts on the law.
Hey folks, WIFR's Nathaniel Langley here, and in parts of Winnebago County, door knocking is about to get a little bit harder. County board members approved new restrictions on soliciting. Be sure to tune in later today on WIFR and catch it on WIFR.com as we walk through the law changes and what led up to it.
Sandwich authorities responded to a school bus crash Friday morning. Deputies went to the area of Pratt and East Sandwich Road, and investigators say an SUV was driving when it didn't stop and crashed into the bus. The bus driver and 24 passengers were not hurt, as well as the SUV driver. 53-year-old Corey Zimmerly is in a Rockford hospital after he was in a serious car crash Thursday night. Lee County deputies say Zimmerly crashed his car in the area of Green River, which is on Pump Factory Road. First responders had to break a window to get Zimmerly out of the car and help prevent any further injuries. Loves Park investigators determine a fire at Midwest Trailer Repair Services Wednesday was an accident. The blaze broke out while workers made repairs to a vehicle inside the building. Heavy black smoke could be seen from blocks away. Firefighters got everything under control and managed to save some of the structure. No one was hurt. Fire investigators look into the cause behind a blaze at a Rockford area liquor store. Firefighters got the call just after 11 Thursday night for Northwest Food and Liquor in the 500 block of Toner Avenue. Crews saw smoke coming from the roof and a fire on the first floor. The fire was put out and no one was hurt. Saturday marks 18 years since 5 NIU students were shot and killed. 21 others were also hurt in the shooting, according to the university. NIU remembers the victims every year by holding a moment of reflection near Cole Hall. The university will ring 5 bells in honor of the fallen Huskies. The Rockford Education Association plans to speak less than a day after reaching a tentative agreement with Rockford Public Schools. According to a message from REA President Claudia Marshall that came into the newsroom just before 11 last night, the teachers union will have an all-member meeting February 21st to vote on ratifying a tentative agreement with RPS. At this time, the details of the deal have not been made available. The two sides had their 33rd bargaining session Wednesday, with the biggest issue still unresolved being retroactive pay. RPS Superintendent Aaron Jarrett calls the agreement a reflection of a shared commitment. He also calls it a commitment to value our educators while honoring our responsibility to the broader community. Jarrett says he deeply appreciates the collaboration, persistence, and tough but respectful bargaining that brought us to this moment, and says he's grateful for the continued support for their families, staff, and community as they move forward together. Major changes could come to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. The changes haven't been updated since 2013, and there's no timeline for the updates. The DSM is used by psychiatrists, psychologists, physicians, researchers, and insurance companies. Changes include incorporating scientific advancements to understanding mental disorders, diagnosis, and treatments. WIFR's Bria Walters sits with several community members on this potential change. Time is ticking for U.S. lawmakers to reach a deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Democrats demand dramatic reforms to U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement before they agree to fund DHS. Democrats also asked to require federal agents to get judicial warrants before entering private property and remove masks during operations. President Trump defends his immigration crackdown, saying agents are doing a great job.
Democrats can build on the measures that Republicans have already agreed to if they actually engage in serious negotiations with the White House.
Their proposal is not serious, plain and simple. It's very far apart from what we need.
The Night to Shine event returns to City First Church in Rockford Friday. The celebration is in its 6th year and focuses on God's love, honoring, and valuing people with special needs. There will be several fun events for participants, such as karaoke, some gifts, dinner, and a crowning of king or queen. WIFR's Miriam Niesmeyer will be live from the event for our 5 and 6 o'clock shows. And tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and maybe that means it's time to treat your significant other to something more than grocery store flowers and chocolates, like perhaps a live show or a movie. WIFR's Forrest Nelson speaks with well-known actor Marlon Wayans on his upcoming performance at the Hard Rock Casino Rockford, as well as his return to the Scary Movie franchise.
We're going to make people laugh. That's what we're going to make people do. Like, they haven't laughed in 20 years. The movie's for everybody, right? Because it's a legacy film. So everybody's included from our generation and this generation. So that's what the fun of the movie is. It's kind of like a conversation that's been needed to be had for 25 years, set in a horror movie.
You can watch the full interview with Marlon Wayans on our streaming apps on Roku, Apple, and Fire TV. Analysts say the high price of gold could be a sign consumers are concerned about the economy. Susan Campbell shows us how to cash in if you have old jewelry sitting around just collecting dust.
You don't have to have a vault full of gold jewelry. Maybe you just have a couple broken pieces. Even that's worth a lot more than you may realize.
This is what it looks like when you melt thousands of dollars worth of gold or silver. But before we get here with a red-hot flame, we have to start here, testing and weighing. This bracelet's 14 karat gold. So what's it worth? Well, that depends on the day.
Gold prices feel like they're skyrocketing.
They are.
Oliver Smith has been in the jewelry business for decades.
It's like 5,000 an ounce.
Gold prices have never been this high.
Do you have a lot of people coming in and trying to sell jewelry right now?
Most people sold when it got to 2,000 a year and a half ago. So we're seeing a lot of things coming out of the woodwork. And then we also have our clients who have the little chain, the broken earring, the unmatched pair of earrings, and they bring those in and they might only get $100, $200 for that, but it's still something.
Silver prices are way up too. So if you want to cash in, here's what you need to know about how it works.
So we have an X-ray machine that tells us what the content is. We have scratch testing we can do with acids too to tell what the content is. It's all weighed on scales, and then we make the offer based on what the spot is that day. So, there's a difference between what you're going to get and what you're selling, because certain things take more work for us to work through.
I just run a magnet through it to make sure we don't have anything in there.
Then it's time to melt the metal. It takes a couple minutes. Then the gold or silver is poured into bars. Right now, that gold bar is worth more than $36,000. The silver bar is worth almost $3,000.
What are the red flags to watch out for so you make sure you do end up at a reputable place that isn't going to take advantage?
If you don't feel comfortable in a situation, then just leave. So the red flag is the hair standing up on the back of your neck, the guy's not looking you in the eye, they're not writing down the quote for you. My advice would be to stay away from those kind of fly-by-night types of operations that want to take advantage of a high market. Use your local neighborhood jeweler or coin dealer.
If you have gold to sell, take it to a couple different places on the same day so you can compare offers. I'm Susan Campbell.
And of course, we can't talk about our Valentine's Day weekend without talking about those incredibly out-of-season temperatures that we're going to have here this weekend. So without further ado, let's take a look at our 7-day forecast out there. So as you can see, for our Friday, 55 degrees. If you can believe it, here in the middle of February, gonna be just absolutely gorgeous. Unfortunately, we're gonna be going down by just a couple of degrees there for our Valentine's Day there. You can see Saturday, we're sitting at a high of about 52 degrees there. Once again, though, our low is about 32, so we still do potentially have the chance for some of those snow flurries. Taking a look at our Sunday, though, 56 degrees, warming up there again, bringing back some more of that sunshine there, and then moving into our President's Day there on Monday. 59 degrees. Our first alert weather team is going to let us know if we possibly could see maybe even 60 degrees here in some parts across the state line. But that being said, you'll have to stay tuned and make sure that you're watching our later shows here to hear a little bit more from Kira Miner while we learn a little bit more about that out there.